What's up guys? So today's video is going to be a little long and it's going to be a lot of just electrical stuff, interior stuff, and figuring out my wiring issues and my 12 volt stuff specifically. So get ready for that, and it's definitely going to be multiple days, hopefully not too long of a video, but I'm going to try and be as detailed as I can, and I'm not an expert in any way, so I'll probably be learning stuff as well as you and just sharing as much as I know about it all and easy ways to kind of get what you want done in not an expensive way. So get ready for it and let's go look what we're working with. And I'm also doing all of this to kind of prep for the Save Expo in Florida, which is coming up the end of February into the 1st of March. So we go every year now and have our vendor set up for Big 5 Overland. And so I kind of want to get it ready for all that and being in the booth and looking pretty. So in preparation of that, we are also doing a new wrap job, Bhavin and I ourselves, so it's not going to be perfect, but I think it's going to be cool. This thing's still dirty from a very wet weekend this past weekend, but anyways, we are going to take that 5 off and then do a whole big 5 across the side, just the 5 with all the animals, and I think it's gonna look cool. But anyways, all of this is in preparation for that, so it gives me plenty of time, hopefully, to get all of this stuff done. So my system is, I have 200 amp hour from 2 separate batteries. So I have 100 amp hour and another one, and I wired them parallel. Ever since the chop, I've been only using one, and it would sit right there. It was fine, and I can make it work, but I really want to use both of them while they're there, and that way I don't have to worry about it ever going dead, and just, you know, because I don't really go for that long if I'm going camping or whatever, so just for peace of mind. So I have a battery box coming today, actually, that will sit right here behind the seats and hold 2 batteries. It's like one of those like marine RV cases. It'll sit there and wire them parallel. And then I have this Redoodoo charger that receives overflow from the alternator and solar power. And I have my solar panel on the hood. It's a Lenson solar panel, 100 watt. And currently my wiring for the overflow of the alternator, which I have an upgraded alternator, that's a 270 from DC Power. My lead from that is not working right now, so I'm just getting solar. From just getting solar, it's been doing fine and charging them okay, you know, whatever. But it would be nice, obviously, to use that option to charge it from overflow. That way you can just turn the car on and it'll charge it if it's not. And on your highway trip to the mountains, you can keep everything topped off while it's running your fridge and stuff like that. So that's what I have there. And then off of that, I have this little box here, which has my 2 power distribution blocks, or I guess 1 set, positive and negative. So I have the leads coming from the battery going to that via a hole in the bottom. Guys, this is all a mess. I know, I understand. Okay, you don't have to let me know. You can stop typing now in the comments, because this is a mess. I know, it is. That's why we're doing this, okay? So don't get on to me. But anyways, I just want to put that out there. I'm not a very organized person, as you can see, but I'm trying. And so I had this box, and I was like, okay, let me just mount the box and put the distribution blocks in there. And it's been working fine. So I run all my accessories through the bottom, 2 holes, power and ground. And it's kind of like a little bit more out of the weather, you know, that way nothing hits the terminals. So that's how everything gets power. And then one of my main things that I'm running is this little setup right here, if you can see that. So it's a USB-A, 2 USB-As, and then a cigarette lighter plug, and then an Anderson plug. And that's how I can plug in my little baby inverter that has 110 if I need to charge my speaker or whatever. And then just anything else that I need to plug in there, I can. And if I need an extra cigarette lighter spot, I have it. That way I have 3 now. But 1 is off 12 volt, the other 2 are off starter battery. And then this Anderson lead is for my fridge. And I can fit a 45 quart fridge here. That's my only outlets I have for the secondary batteries. And then my switches are here. I have a aux beam 8 gang switch here, and then a 6 gang switch there. The fuse boxes are both in the engine bay. One is on that side, and then one is on the other side. And so like all my front lights, rock lights, camp lights, interior light, starlight, and other interior light, my water tank pump. So my trailed 14-gallon water tank is under there. And my pump is over there. So it runs my pump, and then I have my lead I can tap on here of my nozzle and spray water, whatever. And then my air compressor in the engine bay, it's a dual ARB. So, and I think 200 amp hours is plenty for all that stuff. And then I have a 1500 watt inverter that will sit somewhere. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna put it. It runs an outlet that I've tied over here, if you've seen on my Instagram. This little guy here. It's not very clean. I did a terrible job, but it works. And this little like watertight, you know, thing, if I can get it open. Here you are. So yeah, just a little 110 outlet. So I can plug in my induction cooker and my, like anything else really that you need that for. So that's cool. And I just cut a hole. Also check this out. Woo! So nasty. And my window is off track because of the mud and water that got down in it from the very wet weekend. So anyways, sidetracked. But yeah, just like a little hole in there, all siliconed around. It's very messy, very unprofessional, but it worked. My idea is to get heavy duty plastic mats. I don't know if you're familiar with Duradeck. They're basically like 4x8 different thickness of heavy duty plastic that you put down over grass for like equipment to go on or roll over. I want to get a sheet of that and then cut it to fit this whole area here. Reuse the bolt holes for the rear seats that were there. Level it out. You'll have room underneath it and this little like divot before the ledge there. And then you also have these little pockets on each end, which I want to cut out, put hinges on the plastic, and whether you can like lift it up and put stuff there. Stuff that doesn't matter if it gets wet, just in case water comes in the cab. And then level all that out. The fridge will sit in the middle, and then have stuff on either end. Batteries will sit behind the passenger seat. And then on the back wall, I want to do a full length MOLLE panel. So that way I'll have the ability to mount anything I want, like fire extinguishers, first aid kit, because I'm using these little like behind the seat organizers from Carhartt. I have 2 of them, and I can like magnet them to the wall, and they're fine, but I would rather have like a solid, you know, MOLLE panel from like Bison Gear or something. MOLLE panel over the sunroof, since that's all sealed up. I need to clean all this up though. That's the thing I'm gonna be doing. Reorganizing, cleaning all this wiring up. It's so bad, guys, like it's so bad, but it's just from me, like in all the years of just not knowing what I'm doing, and then also just like getting stuff done and not finishing it, or starting stuff and not finishing it, right? Just getting it done just for the weekend or whatever. And then I just leave it there and I forget about it. So this is gonna be me fixing my issues, and also, you know, reevaluating how I can use the cab most efficiently and just make use of all the space, since it's not a lot of space. So I just want to make sure I'm using it as much as I can. See what we get into first and go from there. Okay, so I am sitting here behind everything. This is my view right now. And basically what I'm doing is just like taking everything out of the power box here. So let's see if you can see. Woo! So yeah, basically all my wires come into those 2 blocks that are hooked up to the secondary battery. Basically, I'm just disconnecting all of them and then pulling them out. And some of them are too long, some of them are not long enough. And also they're not like in any sheathing or anything like that. So I bought brand new sheathing and like wires, like all gauges to extend, and then connectors to shorten to the proper size, and so it can be all clean and I don't have to shove wires anywhere. But yeah, you can just see, like, because of no door panels or anything, all of the holes for speakers and other stuff is just like open space back there. So a lot of wires I had to shove back there for now, but I'm just gonna try and do it cleaner and clean all of this junk up. And then I got to find those panels, interior panels, to cover that wiring up that goes back through the firewall on that side. So and then here's my little inverter I was telling you about. It's huge. I have small hands, but it's huge. I don't know, other than that, that's basically what I am doing right now, and I will check back in when I have made some progress. Okay, so we've made some progress today, and it's looking pretty good so far. So this is what we got. Everything was coming here, you know, just scattered and everything. So all my power that's coming from the batteries going to the center console, I've collected all together here in one little loom type thing. And then that's for the seat, you know, whatever. And then everything coming from the engine bay, I have loomed and kind of separated. So those are the wires going to the battery, like starter battery, coming here to get overflow. This is a ground for the Starlight, and then we have solar that's coming in, and then two of these, one of them gets charged from the charger, and then the other one gives power to the distribution block, which is in there. And so I've disconnected everything, pulled it out to redo all of it and organize it. And then another one of these is something else, I can't remember. But anyways, they all go back to that box. I really wish I could get into, I don't know if you can see that very well, but basically it's the wire loom for the back door, so I can access the inside of the back door without having to go in here like that. That way it's just cleaner, but I would have to take off a lot of metal paneling, and I don't even know if it's possible, honestly, but that would be really nice. So yeah, that's basically everything I've done so far. And then another thing that I've been working on today as well is this right here. That's the battery box I was talking about. And turns out that I should have checked the measurements of it and made sure it was for these kind of batteries. So it's for like smaller batteries, or just a different kind, I don't know, whatever. But it's okay, I can turn this one sideways. Technically it should be fine because there's no liquid in it, so being sideways would be fine. And then I can still run the leads, and then I've mounted, this is my charger, the VVOR charger. I've already mounted it to that battery here. We're gonna hole out the back so that I can run the lead for that outside, and then the leads as well from these to the distribution block and everything outside, so that I can just plug it in somewhere on the back or something, and then turn this on and start it, and then it charges the batteries if I need to. And then that actually fits perfectly right here. That will be behind the passenger seat. And I think if it would have been any longer, it would have been too much. So it kind of works out that it didn't kind of work, but it does. I think that's gonna be good. And it has straps that go around it so that it keeps the lid on. Oh yeah, I don't think I showed. So yeah, this is the lid, right? So the lid will go something like this. Let's see, something like that. So the lid goes on it, straps go over. I know it looks massive, but it's not really that big. This lens is just really wide, and it protects it. Like if I go through some water and then the water like comes up to here or something, you know, it doesn't get to the batteries or anything like that. So, but yeah, looking good so far. It's just all my stuff I've been using, but it'll clean it up really nice if I can fit it all in this little thing. This, I'm gonna pull center console probably tomorrow and run that directly underneath the carpet, and then bring it over here. That way you won't see it at all. And yeah, then I'll work on the other side. Other side, there's not really much to work with other than all of that crap that you can see over there. But that just has to be tucked in the doors. It's just a stock harness that has like sensors and I don't even know, like little boxes that have plugs on them that I just leave plugged in, just because I don't know what they do. All right, so I got to some of the center console already and popped it in, or popped it out, and then ran that wire underneath the carpet, and then it's coming up over there. And then I got all this tidied up, all zip tied together all the way down. I went and checked to make sure I had this
trim piece, and I don't. I thought I had it, so I was stoked to make it look all nice and neat. Because I need that piece, the kick thing, and then the one that goes here. And same for the other side, but I do on the other side I have this one, but I don't have that one. So yeah, it looks good. I'm gonna start running some wires and plugging them into the things that they need to be plugged into, and then we'll put the battery box in. Yeah, see how it goes. Okay, I want to put my camera up, but I kept going. So got the batteries hooked up, obviously. So here's the battery box behind the passenger seat, and I got my leads going away from it to my distribution box. I gotta tuck those wires in the door, zip tie everything, and then that's pretty much it for that. I still have to clean up all that stuff over there, but ran everything through the carpet. It's all nice and clean. And then, yeah, then we'll start looking at platform stuff, but just wanted to give you an update on that. So got my batteries going, got my lights going, all is good. My switches are up. And then we'll move to the engine bay and start cleaning up some of that stuff as well, maybe tomorrow. So, yeah.
All right, so it is the next morning, and now it's time to dive into the engine bay. I did complete the inside and running all the cables and zip tied them all together. Made it look good, so that's all set until we do a platform or decide what I want to do there. In here, I have a few things. This is my 6-gang switch, so I'm gonna try and clean all this up. This is my antenna cable. My starter battery. The only thing that's off of it right now, I'm not sure what that is actually, so I'll have to look into that. But clean all that stuff up as well. My 8-gang switch is right there. Air compressor. Try and clean as much as I can up on this end. It's also obviously very dirty from the weekend. So maybe give it a good wash while I'm at it as well, or once I finish, and go from there. So let's see what we can do.
Also, I almost forgot to show you the inside. So yeah, again, we saw all that yesterday. Battery box is in there. Kind of cleaned that all up right there a little bit. And then over there is what I was gonna do, like finish today, which I did, for the most part at least. But super clean, or not super clean, but a lot cleaner than it was. So all the wiring harness is shoved into that door because there's literally nowhere else to put it, and that's the only best option. And then it's all zip tied together and whatnot, stuff like that. And then the inverter is mounted right there. Let me go to the other side to show you better. Okay, so here at the other side, just made sure everything was ran in the little channel correctly. Cleaned a little bit of that up. It's still not amazing, but it's the best it's gonna get. And like, there's wires there anyways. I just need the little kick panel and this panel. Well, no, I have this one. I need it for the other side. So this is it here, and I'm gonna drill some more holes to properly mount that inverter to the metal and bolt it on there. But basically, this is how everything is run. There's holes right there in the bottom of the floor that go out to the tail lights and stuff like that, because there's no other hole that goes out that way. And then this is all wired up, and then I have my switch plug there, and then my power for the back wall outlet, and then I have my switch right here. So if I go here, right here, I can flip it on, and that turns the inverter on, and then flip it off. So if anything's plugged in out back, then I can just turn this on, make sure it gets power and whatnot. So that's just what that control wire that I ran all the way underneath and then put it up there. So yeah, it's not too bad. We just have to clean all this up. That center console is an absolute beast to take in and out without it cracking everything. That's another thing. I ran the wire from my phone holder through the dash, coming out the bottom, and then I still need to clean all this stuff up. But now we can finally move over to the engine bay. We'll give an update, see how much we get done.
Okay, so I just finished cleaning it, and I always forget how like flaky this paint is. And this is that Summit Racing single stage carbon metallic or carbon fiber metallic gray or something like that. But I mean, you can kind of see the flake a little bit in some areas. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but it's very flaky. At first, when we first painted it and everything, I was like, it's almost like a bass boat, really. But it's not that flaky or shiny, at least. But it cleans it pretty well. So just wanted to make sure everything was clean while I was cleaning the interior and everything. And then got all this cleaned. We got our clean floor mats. Everything is nice and clean. It's so satisfying, honestly. There was some other wires for that specifically that I forgot to plug in to the little fuse box. And so I finished that up today. So everything is in there. Everything is where it's supposed to be. So yeah, now I can check my voltage and whatnot. And then my Anderson plug is working down there for the fridge and for the panini machine. And yeah, this is obviously a lot cleaner than it was. I gotta fix this window, get it back on track, but we still gotta do engine bay stuff. So let's dive into that. What's honestly so funny is that like I've been getting all this loomed and everything to this length, right? Because this is the length that it came with. Like this is out of the box length, right? And I loomed everything and I'm like, why didn't I just cut it right here where it's gonna be at the battery terminal, and that way you don't have to wrap it. And so yeah, now I have to cut this again and then cut it to length. That way it's just like this, nice and clean, boom, and you don't have to like tuck anything underneath like this, which I'll have to fix that. But yeah, I did not think about that until now. So, but I got this side somewhat cleaned up. It's just stuff that's going across the engine bay. It would honestly take hours for me to undo everything and redo it. But I mean, right now it's just extra slack, really. It's not anything crazy. And then stuff that needs to be protected, everything has something on it to an extent. But yeah, I don't know, I might clean some of this up sometime, but I'm getting closer to being happy with everything. So yeah, now I'm gonna undo all that loom. That's so frustrating, but if I'm here, I might as well do it properly, you know? So okay, so obviously all of this is not incredibly perfect. It's a lot better than it used to be, and I'm happy with that. So we're making progress, but I think I'm gonna try everything and make sure everything still works that I've tampered with. And if it still works, then I'm calling that good. I mean, everything is fused. Everything is fused. Make sure you fuse everything that needs to be fused with the proper amp fuse and gauge wire. So everything seems to be working. She's idling low because she's still figuring herself out. Lights on the dash are normal. All my stuff is working still, so that's cool. My switches and my little voltage gauge, 13.7 right now. And the batteries fit so well back here. It's honestly amazing. I love it. I'm so glad that that worked out. But yeah, I tidied up everything in here, and man, it's so clean. I've never had this car so clean in my life, and I want to keep it this way until the expo for sure. But yeah, everything's looking a lot better, and underneath the hood is looking good to me. But yeah. She's happy. Yep, she's coming along nicely and looking good. Can't wait to get the new vinyls on, and I need to take the toolbox off and clean the bed, repaint it. Gotta touch up the sliders and stuff like that. Gotta do a little bit of maintenance, but I aired up the tires today because they were still aired down from the weekend, and the air compressor is going off both of the batteries, and I ran the air compressor, dual air compressor, and aired up all the tires from like, I don't know, 15 PSI or 20 PSI up to 35. And you know, it takes a good minute because I don't have one of those 4-way inflator or whatever, and it didn't even pull a percent down from the batteries, so that's cool. And I can't really check if my overflow is working because they're both full. The car's on, and I don't, you know, they're not going to charge because they're full, so the charger's not charging them. I'm gonna have to draw some power off of it. Maybe I can cook dinner one night with my induction, so I can just draw some power and see if it charges it when it's on. But solar obviously still works because that worked before. And sorry if this has kind of like been a vlog of some sorts, but I've been trying to stay on topic and subject of the video, but we got a lot done, and I think everything's looking decent. Again, I'm not looking for perfect. I'm just looking for safe-ish and working, you know. So, and then I'll be posting all the stuff that I have, like the battery, the wires, the connectors, the fuses, everything in the description, and I'll put links to everything so you can go. It's mostly Amazon, so you can literally go and get it whenever. And stand by for like the platform stuff. I'm probably gonna do like another video when we do all that stuff, just because this has already kind of been a long video, and I still haven't gotten materials yet, so I'm gonna have to wait and make another video whenever we do the platform and everything in the back, and mount the fridge and run all the other stuff. So you'll see plenty of that. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna do it for today's video. That was multiple days, but it's all done. I hope you learned something, and I don't know, got some ideas from me doing stuff. And yeah, make sure to follow my Instagram, rowdy_470, and Big 5 Overland for our antennas. And again, if you're gonna be at the Save Expo, come check it out. We'll be there. I don't have a booth number yet, but we're about to get all that finalized, and we'll see y'all there.